Welcome. Before we start our ribbon cutting ceremony, we'd like to have a quick moment of silence for all those who weren't able to make it to the broken promised land. Former Atlantic Yards executive Jim Stuckey, who last we heard is being sued for sexual harassment. Atlantic Yards cheerleader Senator Carl Kruger, convicted and sentenced to 9 years for corruption. Ratner's Atlantic Yards lobbyist Richard Lipsky, convicted of bribery. Pled guilty. Atlantic Yards cheerleader and head of the Carpenters Union local Sal Zarzana, indicted for extortion. Too many MTA and ESDC executives to count. The world's most talked about starchitect Frank Gehry. Former Forest City Ratner executive and political fixer Bruce Bender, who left the firm and can't be here today to F the bridge. And of course, Barclays' former chief executive officer Bob Diamond, forced to resign because of Barclays' LIBOR interest rate fixing scandal. Although there is no doubt, he got his wish to use Brooklyn to spread the bank's global brand. Welcome, members of the press. It's an honor to have you here with us today. We are lucky to have for you local theater troupe, the Land Grab Players. And what is even luckier for you is that their ribbon cutting will only take about 10 minutes before you got to go inside that building and spend 3 hours in hot air. This array of cronies presents the LIBOR Fixer Center ribbon cutting. Take it away, Land Grabbers.
Hey, Bloomy, what's with the rust? Did they paint this thing? Forget about it! Welcome! I could never have imagined that, according to the myth, after hounding my buddy Bruce Ratner to buy the net 9 years ago, this day would come where we'd be opening a stadium that adds no housing in the middle of a citywide housing crisis, delivers only 1% of the jobs he promised, and loses millions of taxpayer dollars all at the same time. It makes a grown boy cry. I never thought I would be presiding over the greatest government giveaway since Ridge Hill. Just kidding, Bruce. And the greatest bait and switch since, like, forever. Whatever. Whoever thought that my Brooklyn boyhood dreams could be fulfilled by a Russian oligarch, another oligarch from Cleveland, and a British bank that manipulates global credit markets? Thank you very much. Whoever thought that a former tenant activist, me, could preside over a ribbon cutting for a building that exists because we had kicked tenants out of their homes with eminent domain? Amazing! A miracle! Brooklyn is 20 bazillion% behind this one. What a country! What a borough! Anyway, forget about it. I'm here to read this proclamation before we anoint this rust bucket. Whereas Brooklyn's cherished traditions of fairness and respect are deemed moot and quaint, and are at odds with the contemporary and fashionable notions of wealth, arrogance, unethical behavior, and exploitation, it is most fitting that we join the celebration of an undertaking that both increases the wealth and power of those from elsewhere and disenfranchises Brooklynites more than ever before. about it. I want to introduce my friend and my favorite billionaire, Mayor Bruce Ratner. Michael Bloomberg.
It took some arm twisting in the city council and bullying all three dailies to get a third term, but I had to. There was no way I was going to miss the chance to rub shoulders with Jay-Z and P.T. Barnum, Brett Yormark, that funny forget about it guy, and Mario Cuomo, Andrew. What a grand day it is for Brooklyn, even without the jobs and housing that I used as an excuse to justify supporting this project. But you can't blame me. Everyone knows the Atlantic Yards is a state project. I just show up to lend credibility to press conferences and pressure the MTA. If you want to talk jobs and housing, go talk to Andrew. I gave up on community benefit agreements a long time ago. They're extortion. What's important is, one day, no one here will remember how long it took to get to this point. They're only going to look and see they've been displaced by luxury housing and national retailers that will follow the arena. And the people who will be parking their cars where affordable housing was supposed to be just won't care. What a great city. And what a great day for Brooklyn. Thank you, Mickey. Marty?
And now I'd like to introduce my best, most favorite recent governor, Governor Bruce Ratner. Andrew Cuomo, a reformer who, thanks Andy, has turned a blind eye to Atlantic Yards failures. Thank you, Governor Status Cuomo.
I was Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under President Clinton. And so at first I felt a little funny about cutting a ribbon for a project that wants to use scarce, affordable housing bonds to build studio apartments for people who earn six figures. Since I'm also the former New York State Attorney General, I thought it was a little weird last year when a court ruled one of my agencies broke the law by helping Forest City Ratner shove Atlantic Yards public benefits into the distant future. But let me make one thing perfectly clear. It was those previous gubernatorial seat warmers who approved this project, not me. What do you expect me to do about it now? My political career is just getting started, so I'm not about to antagonize powerful real estate developers. So let's get this wrapped up in time for me to get back to Westchester before rush hour!
Thank you, Governor. Now, I'd like to introduce my BFF, the king of the world, the most civic of civic developers, the most do-goodery of liberal do-gooders, the greatest thing since sliced cheesecake, Bruce Ratner!
Thank you for all your support over and over again over the past 7 years to get this land grab done. I'm a lucky man. I know it hasn't always been easy. Like the time I told the press I never planned to build this project in 10 years. Or when I told the Journal that your housing subsidies aren't enough to build with union labor. Or after I fired Frank Gehry. Or the time I got the Empire State Development Corporation to cover up the change in the project schedule so I could meet a deadline to issue triple tax-free bonds. Even today, with the jobs and housing we promised, nowhere in sight, you've really stuck with me, and that's what counts. I'm a lucky man. With friends like you, who needs the community boards, the city council, or state legislators? Brooklyn is a great, great place to do business, especially for an Upper East Sider, partnered with a Russian oligarch. Let's finish here with a surprise guest and a great, great dear friend of mine. I mean, who in their right mind would buy the Nets? This guy. We are like two peas in a pod. My Keel Prokora!
Thank you. Now, there was a time in my country when easy to get rich with friends in government. Now, not so easy in Russia. But Bruce shows me how to do it here in Brooklyn. What I must say is, don't worry about affordable housing. As soon as Nets win championship, we'll build housing. LOL!
Thank you, everybody! And now, let them eat cake!
Cheesecake!
Cheesecake!
Thank you so much for joining us little people out here today.